Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We have done a lot of videos on various challenges in life. We have also done videos on where there can be bigger issues, how to handle them, what are the placements which can bring about challenges, issues, but also what are the placements which can bring about opportunities and the good period for us, and how to milk that period. However, one energy which is very intriguing energy and which is an enigma, and there is not enough which can be talked about that energy, is the energy of Rahu. And I'm doing this video, though I had done a video just about a week back, I think, on Rahu, and I try and do a video on Rahu every 1.5-2 months just to refresh people's memories and to add something more to what I've already shared with you about Rahu, and to take it up stage by stage, phase by phase, where I can share more and more, and slowly our understanding of Rahu also increases with each passing phase, so that we also graduate up to understand what truly Rahu represents. And hence I keep doing these videos on Rahu, bringing a different aspect of Rahu in front of you. Today's video about Rahu is about that aspect of Rahu which we many times we know about, we also read about it, but very seldom do we pay attention to it, and that causes the downfall in the life. That is what brings us on our knees. And so it's important for us to understand what is it that we do, or how we treat Rahu, or how Rahu plays part in our horoscope, that it can bring us to our knees, that it can cause a sudden downfall in our lives. Now, various planetary entities, various bad doshas, various bad conjunctions, various bad aspects can also bring us down on our knees and also can bring a downfall. However, the severest of downfall can be brought about only by Rahu, and to an extent by Saturn. However, where Saturn is concerned, Saturn will bring you to a slow grind. So Saturn will chop you and slowly grind you and give you time. There is no escape from Saturn also, but you have enough time of the Saturn grind that it doesn't come very suddenly. You are not left gasping for your breath. Though you truly are admonished by Saturn, because it's also somebody who is a punisher, which is a karmic equalizer. Now, what does Rahu mean? We have already done videos about meaning of Rahu's placement in your horoscope. What does the Rahu Ketu axis mean? What do Rahu's aspects mean? What does Rahu's placement in the zodiac sign means? And the 12 houses anyways we have done. So which should have given us enough sense of what Rahu represents. However, this particular point, that Rahu can cause a downfall, we need to also be able to discuss it a little bit more. And the reason is, to an extent, if you see why Rahu brings about that downfall in the life, it's because Rahu is the karma for this life, whereas Ketu is something that you have already done and you have already finished off with earlier, in earlier lives, in an earlier time. Whereas Rahu is the karma and the focus for us for this life. So our purpose of life should be connected to Rahu. A Bhrigu Bindu is anyways connected to Rahu. The placement between Rahu and Moon. Moon is our heart, Moon is our emotion, Moon is our mind. And so the Bhrigu Bindu between Rahu and Moon is a very important placement of what is that one task we should surely be able to do. So in various ways, Rahu keeps reminding us by its placement, by its aspect, by yogas, by how it is placed, in what degree, in what energy, that what we expected to do, where we are expected to move, which direction we need to take. But one thing which is unequivocal about Rahu is that Rahu plays a part and mirrors us. So the way we are, to a large extent, Rahu also behaves like that. If we are unethical in our behavior to others in our lives, then Rahu behaves unethically to us. Rahu also treats us unfairly. Then we turn around and we blame Rahu, or the Rahu Dasha, or the Rahu dosha. For example, a Shrapit dosha, if Rahu and Saturn make, then we may blame that. Or we may blame a Kalp Sarp Yog if all the planets are on one side of Rahu, or the Angakaraka dosha if Rahu and Mars are placed together. So we will find excuses that why Rahu is giving us these results. However, seldom do we agree and accept that we also were not right in our manifestation. We didn't understand the energies very well. We misused the opportunities coming in our lives. We did not understand our karma. We behaved irresponsibly. We behaved with greed. We behaved with lust. We behave with chasing Maya, the materialism, and we did not pay attention to our responsibilities. We were not accountable in our mannerisms, and we mistreated people, we mistreated relations. Many times we are not ready to take responsibility, but we are ready to pass on the accountability to either a horoscope or bad luck or parents or teachers or bosses, anyone but ourselves. So Rahu, when it says that we are not ready to take accountability, we are not ready to take responsibility, we are not ready to behave responsibly, and seldom do we take the opportunity after opportunity that Rahu keeps giving us, and we fail Rahu. Why we fail Rahu? Because Rahu is the karma, and when we are not able to do our task, Rahu keeps adding and giving us more and more energies, assuming that this person does not feel energetic enough or doesn't feel strengthened enough, so let me add more energy. Now what happens when we keep getting more and more energy, more and more power, more and more resources? We misuse them. So when Rahu adds its energy again and again to us, and it's moving towards its maturity also, however, we are still not, we are oblivious of our karma, or we are moving too slow towards our karma, we are still too much engrossed in the materialism. Then that is when Rahu strikes. And Rahu strike is a reminder, but it is not then one whiplash that Rahu strikes us with. Rahu will give other small strike, an early strike, maybe in our early years, like our teenage years, between our teenagers and early 20s. And if you don't realize that, then it may give us another strike, usually between our 30s. And then the biggest strike comes generally in our 40s and generally towards the maturity period of Rahu. So in our earlier lives, if you behave irresponsibly, then in our teenage years, in our studies, in our friendships, in our relationship, in our love affairs, we may falter, we may not be focused, and we may act irresponsibly, and we may have also been admonished, we may have lost dear ones, we may have had a breakup in a relationship, we may have lost in education, we may not have been able to sit through competitive exams because we were too engrossed in parties, too engrossed in going out, too engrossed in friends, too engrossed being the social animal, or too engrossed chasing behind relations, behind a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And that's when we may have faced one of the first downfalls, or one of the first small bringing us to our knees. The second one we could have faced in our late 20s or early 30s, yet we may not have paid attention. This could have been in relationship after we are married, and how we treat the spouse, how we treat the spouse with respect as an equal, and in fact we are ready to give more and expect less. How we treat our work, how we behave responsibly at work, how we treated colleagues, how we treated our bosses. Were we too impatient? Were we chasing promotions and growth without putting in enough effort, without contributing enough, and desiring more that we deserve? So that's when Rahu may also give you the second whack, slightly more serious whack, where we lose a job, where there is a sudden change, we are asked to move cities, we are overlooked for promotions. All that happens to us, or a spouse starts to not treat us so very well. All that may happen, and yet if we don't learn, then the downfall can be stronger. The downfall can also be stronger even in our early years. However, if we still don't learn from that, then the downfall of bringing to our knees can be much more severe later on. It depends on how much severity you understand that the situation is bringing upon you. So sometimes one admonishment is enough for us to say, I've been treated so poorly, this has been so bad, this is the worst treatment that somebody can go through and all. This is the worst fate somebody can go through and all. Or we may take that as the first step, and we need to be really careful. So wherever Rahu is placed in the horoscope, if you are not behaving responsibly towards the area of that house, towards the relationship, towards the karma, towards the responsibility, towards the accountability that is given to us for the manifestation of that house, then over a period of time, after seeing once, twice, thrice opportunities being given, yet we're not learning, a sudden downfall may come. If Rahu is in the 5th house, which is 10th to which is the 8th house to the 10th house, then the downfall may come in the career, because you are blindsided and you are just rushing behind materialism, we are rushing behind growth, we are blindsided to that, the present job is much better, rather than chase growth and then go into another job. We should be stable and we should work through and grow through in that same job. We take certain steps, we take drastic steps, we change our jobs, we change our roles for a growth, and we change our companies also. And being the 8th house to the 10th house, if Rahu is in the 5th house, it brings about a sudden change, but it also brings about a sudden downfall. Suddenly we are not getting along with colleagues, we are feeling pressured, we are not able to get along with bosses, we feel that bosses don't appreciate us enough, and then we like our previous jobs more than the current job. Rahu may do the same thing in relationships also, in romance, in the 5th house, where we have one girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, then we are looking at somebody else also, that person looks better, that person looks richer, that person will, if that person is in my life, then I will have more brownie points in my friend circle, in my social circle, and so on. If Rahu is in the 11th house, then it makes us chase societal recognition, societal connections. So in trying to befriend the celebrities and the higher people, the most successful people, we take any steps to be able to be in that. We may go for very, very expensive club memberships because we want to be among that crowd and then slowly build that network. We may throw lavish parties, or we may want to do business, or we may want to just go to or befriend those people in our circle who themselves hang out with celebrities. Somehow we want to be in that A class, that A group. So we may do all those things. We may chase unnecessary things. Rahu in the 7th house, we expect so much from the spouse, and we are not ready to reciprocate as a response, as something that we also want to do, something more that we can do. And so sudden downfall may come. Rahu in the 11th house may bring you sudden down on your knees, where you are no more liked by people. Nobody wants to be your friends. People have heard about you, and your infamy is more than your credibility, and so people may want to refrain from you. In your job in the 10th house or in the 5th house, or even with Rahu in the 11th house, we may do something because of which Rahu brings a downfall. We lose our jobs, we are asked to go, our roles are changed, we are overlooked for promotions. All those sorts of things happen. There may be an allegation. There may also be people saying that you don't work enough, you don't contribute enough, and you are not right in your work, your work output is not right. So somewhere, wherever Rahu is placed, if we don't treat that with responsibility and responsibly, then it can bring us down on our knees, and it can be a huge downfall. Rahu in the 4th house can bring us challenges and issues, not only in the domestic life, but even with the mother, and it can affect that relationship also adversely. And many times seniors take the hit more than us without us realizing. The health of a elder person in the family or the children in the family can also be affected, and we don't realize that why such a thing is happening. Especially if Rahu is in the 9th house, it can bring a downfall or challenge with our gurus in our studies. We may think that we are doing very well, and suddenly we lose a year, or we lose track, we lose our focus, and then we may not be able to complete our education. We may want to go to foreign, sign up for foreign degrees, and we want so much that foreign tag that we end up signing up for not so good universities, rather than doing that high education in a decent university in our own countries. So wherever Rahu is, the Rahu may bring that challenge. Now, Rahu has a keen relationship with the 12th house, because Jupiter rules the 12th sign Pisces, and Rahu and Jupiter both have the 5th and the 9th aspect. Jupiter also has the 7th aspect, but that is the general aspect which Saturn also has, Mars also has, Venus also has, Mercury also has. So in the special aspects, Rahu and Jupiter both have the 5th and 9th aspect. Ketu also has the 5th and 9th aspect, but Ketu doesn't give expansion. Jupiter gives expansion, Rahu gives explosion. So to some extent they are similar. But what does the 12th house represent which Jupiter rules? 12th house represents waste and excess. And that's the keen relationship that Rahu has with Jupiter, because in our forcing ourselves towards materialism, not taking accountability, we may have excess waste in our lives. So wasteful of energy, wasteful of focus, wasteful of friends, wasteful of habits. So something or the other takes us in that tangent where we end up wasting. We waste our resources, we waste our energy, we waste our emotions, and then we lose. We may lose property, we may lose relations, we may lose our jobs, we may lose our friends, we may lose our elders, we may lose our health, we may lose our credibility. So because Rahu forces us towards that waste and excess, we may lose our credibility, we may lose our character, we may lose our personality, and hence Rahu can bring you that sudden downfall. So wherever Rahu is in a horoscope, we need to be very, very careful. We need to be very, very ethical. We need to be very moral in how we manifest that. And in that connection, Rahu is also like Saturn, because we know that Shanivat Rahu and Kujvat Ketu. Why? Because Saturn is about commitment, credibility, and being dedicated, and also being righteous. So we forget that Rahu is also like Saturn, which means that Saturn expects us to be committed, disciplined, righteous, structured, persevering, and patient in our approach. Rahu also expects us to be all that, but Rahu also expects us, apart from our ethical behavior, to focus towards our karma. Saturn is not taking us towards a karma, but more of a karmic equalizer, trying to balance the karma. If we mistreat Rahu, Rahu on the other hand says that, okay, this is your energy, this is your path, this is your tangent, keep going on that. And when we don't do that, is when Rahu becomes like Saturn and also becomes the karmic equalizer, but this is a sudden one. If Rahu is a huge explosion, Rahu is also a huge downfall, and we need to be really very careful of Rahu's placement, Rahu's doshas, Rahu's aspects, and what Rahu means. So be very, very careful and be very mindful. And so please pay attention to the other videos which I have made about Rahu's placement in your horoscope, what it means, what does the axis mean, what kind of an energy Rahu brings. If Rahu is placed in a certain zodiac sign, what it means. Try and look at your horoscope holistically. Apart from Rahu, look at what conjunction it is making, what aspects it is under or making aspects on others, which houses and signs it is placed, what is the overall dignity of Rahu. Is it alone or is it under conjunction with someone? Is Rahu under the influence of more than one planet? When you look at it holistically, and where your Bhrigu Bindu is. And then with all of that, you will be able to see where your purpose of life is. Why are you in this world? If you have understood your Bhrigu Bindu and what your purpose of life is very, very well, and you move towards that purpose with ethical, moral character, with dedication, with commitment, with responsibility and accountability, then seldom does Rahu bring us that downfall. Rahu keeps giving us opportunity after opportunity, and then you will see that people rise to the sky very, very soon. Otherwise, you will see a lot of people who have Rahu has given umpteen huge level of success abroad to the knees within days, if not months. We know many cases. We know of cases like the Nirav Modis. We know the cases like Bill Gates. What has happened to Bill Gates? He was so much respected. And so there was time for Bill Gates, for example, almost 20 years back, his run-in with Steve Jobs, and then all those court cases where Microsoft was almost divided into two companies, but somehow he moved away from the board, and so Microsoft was allowed to function as one company, and then he achieved a lot of respect also. Rahu gave that opportunity. He became a philanthropist. He made the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. All that happened. But what happened just a few months back? There were stories about his indiscretion in his marriage fell apart, he had to part with a lot of money, and his huge respect came tumbling down. So we will find these stories, around Shiny Ahuja, one of the Bollywood actors. If you don't know about that, read up. He was one of the most promising and upcoming stars, and suddenly there were rape allegations against him. He was sent to jail, and though he came out on bail, on those, came out of jail on bail, yet his career has not taken off after that. So the stories are around us. Somewhere or the other, you will be able to see what huge downfalls people have gone through, and so we need to be more careful where opportunities have been given to us, but the downfall has been. Even in our own country, when you look at the Ambanis, Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani, you know how Mukesh has taken his company from strength to strength. Whereas what has happened with Anil Ambani? So where opportunity was given to both brothers, there was a run-in between them, and then it was forced to split. Reliance was forced to split. Anil Ambani got his part, but we know where Anil Ambani is. In fact, he had to take the help of his brother to be able to salvage himself and keep himself out of jail. So look at life around you. You will have many stories of a sudden downfall in people's lives. There will be people who you know, maybe intimately you know, very close to you, where there has been a sudden downfall also. So be wary of that. Focus on your life, focus on relationships, focus on moral ethics, focus on your karma, understand the purpose of your life. If you don't know the purpose of your life, if you're living your life materialistically, chasing Maya, then sooner than later Rahu may start admonishing you, Rahu may start whacking you, and Rahu may be just waiting for an opportune moment to bring you down on your knees. So be careful, take stock of where the Rahu is before it is too late. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me, the links given below, and please look up to me on Instagram also. I've started that account maybe recently, few days back, and so follow me on Instagram, and till some other time with some other video. This is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.